I always thought I had the perfect family. We were close, supportive, and I loved them more than anything. That is, until I discovered my entire life had been built on a foundation of lies. It all started with small things, little inconsistencies in their stories that I initially brushed off. A hushed phone call here, a quickly hidden bank statement there. But the nagging feeling in my gut wouldn't go away. So, I started digging. And what I found shattered my world. It began with my parents. The image they projected to our community, successful, generous, and financially stable, was a complete fabrication. I uncovered hidden bank accounts, mountains of debt they'd been concealing for years, and a string of failed business ventures they never mentioned. They were living a lie, borrowing from friends and relatives just to keep up appearances, all while lecturing me about financial responsibility. The hypocrisy was staggering, but the deception didn't stop with them. I soon learned my siblings were just as complicit. My older brother, the golden child, wasn't the successful entrepreneur he claimed to be. In reality, he'd made a series of terrible investments and had been secretly bailed out by my parents time and time again, using money they didn't have. And my sister, who I thought I could trust, had been covering for him, manipulating family conversations and hiding his mistakes to protect her own standing in the family. They were all in on it, a tangled web of secrets designed to protect their fragile image. The more I uncovered, the angrier I became. They had lied about their finances, their careers, even our family history. Every happy memory was suddenly tainted by the knowledge that it was all part of an elaborate performance. The trust I had placed in them was completely broken. I felt betrayed, isolated, and incredibly foolish for not seeing it sooner. For a while, I was paralyzed by heartbreak. How could the people I loved most do this? But then, the sadness turned into a cold, hard determination. They weren't going to get away with it. They had built their house of cards on a foundation of deceit, and I was going to be the one to knock it down. But I had to be smart. A direct confrontation would only lead to more lies and manipulation. They would turn it around on me, paint me as the villain, the troublemaker. No, I had to be strategic. I needed to let their own lies be their undoing. My plan began to take shape. I started by gathering concrete evidence, copies of bank statements, saved text messages, recordings of suspicious conversations. I became a ghost in my own home, observing and documenting everything. My first move was to anonymously leak information about my father's charity fundraiser, which was really just a scheme to pay off his personal debts. I sent the evidence to a local journalist I knew was tenacious. Within a week, the story broke, and my parents' reputation in the community crumbled. They had no idea it was me. Next, I turned my attention to my brother. He was in the middle of trying to secure a new round of funding for his booming business. I knew the investors were doing their due diligence, so I made sure that some carefully selected evidence of his past failures and his reliance on our parents' bailouts found its way into the right hands. The deal collapsed, and for the first time, he was forced to face the consequences of his actions without a safety net. The final piece of my plan was the most difficult. I had to expose my sister's role in the cover-up. I waited for a big family dinner, one where extended relatives were present. During a conversation about integrity and honesty, a topic my sister ironically loved to preach about, I casually brought up a recent anonymous news story about financial fraud. As I described the details, which mirrored our family's situation perfectly, I watched the color drain from her face. Then, I played a short, edited audio clip of her admitting to my brother how she lied to our grandparents to get more money for him. The room fell silent. The game was over. In the aftermath, the family imploded. The fallout was messy and painful. But for the first time, the truth was out in the open. They were forced to confront the reality of who they were, not the perfect image they had so desperately tried to maintain. As for me, I walked away. I reclaimed my independence and my own sense of justice. It was a difficult journey, But in the end, I was free. Free from their lies, and free to build a life based on truth. Thanks for watching. If you have a story about uncovering a difficult truth, I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more stories.